Good day, friends, and welcome once again to Voice of the Colonies. I am Mercy Otis Warren, here to bring you the news from this week of November 9th through 15th, 1775. Brought to you by...
Feeling unheard at town meetings? Want to rally your militia without wasting good gunpowder? Then pick up the Patriot's Fife. Crafted from locally pilfered wood and tuned to a pitch so shrill it rattles teacups from Boston to Savannah. Perfect for morning drills, evening parades, or waking your entire village at dawn, just because you can. Easy to carry on midnight rides and doubles as a fine poking stick when tempers flare. The Patriot's Fife, because sometimes liberty needs a little more noise.
From the chill of Boston to the frozen banks of the St. Lawrence, the struggle for liberty grows more determined and more costly. General Richard Montgomery has taken Montreal. On November 13th, Patriot troops marched into the city without resistance. Governor Guy Carleton, the British commander, fled under cover of darkness, rowing down the St. Lawrence toward Quebec. The people of Montreal, weary of British rule, opened their gates and offered supplies to our forces. But victory comes at a price. Soldiers sleep in drafty French houses with little to eat but salt beef and parched corn. Still, the flag of liberty now flies where once the Union Jack stood, and that sight alone warms the coldest heart. Even as one army celebrates, another barely survives. Colonel Benedict Arnold's men have at last reached the St. Lawrence after a brutal march through the Maine wilderness. They have faced starvation, frostbite, flooded rivers, canoes shattered on rocks. For days, they ate nothing but boiled shoe leather. One officer wrote, "We have no food, no shoes, yet we press on, for we are bound to Quebec." Their courage is becoming legend, proof that liberty demands the strength of both body and soul. In Philadelphia, Congress has turned its gaze toward the sea. On November 10th, it authorizes 2 battalions of Marines to serve aboard the new Continental ships. Recruitment began immediately at Tun Tavern, where good ale and the promise of adventure drew eager volunteers. Now, last month, if you recall, Congress established the Continental Navy, but calling it a navy on paper doesn't really give it any power on the water, so work is being rushed to that end. John Adams and his committee are securing ships, small but swift, to hunt British supply vessels. In the Philadelphia yards, hammers strike through the night as carpenters fit planks and fit cannon. The Royal Navy may outnumber us 100-fold, but determination? That is our greatest strength. As one person remarked, "Britain rules the waves, but America has begun to make some ripples." The siege of Boston is grinding on, though. 7 months have now passed since the first shots at Lexington and Concord, and still, neither army is yielding. Washington's encampments stretch across the frozen hills of Cambridge and Roxbury. Men build log huts and stuff the cracks with moss and straw against the coming cold. Firewood is scarce, pay is delayed, but faith endures. Inside the city, British troops huddle behind walls, sharing rations with hungry civilians. Smallpox spreads. The harbor stinks of rot and fear. Boston, which was once a city bustling with trade and laughter, now sleeps under a veil of frost and smoke. Yet, even amid hardship, the colonies prepare for Thanksgiving. Leaders have called for days of public fasting, prayer, and thanksgiving. And across New England, ministers remind their flocks to give thanks not for comfort, but for courage. Families gather around humble tables, pumpkin instead of bread, salt pork stretched thin with beans. In Virginia, where the weather is milder, prayers rise beneath open skies. One diarist wrote, "We give thanks with joy and sorrow alike, for liberty has taken her first breath, and we are her guardians." This year, our richest harvest may just be perseverance. Along the coast, commerce grows desperate. British warships haunt every harbor, but Yankee smugglers are undaunted. By moonlight, they slip from Rhode Island and Cape Cod with salt and sugar hidden under barrels of fish. Salt especially has become worth its weight in silver Without it, no meat can be kept through winter. Congress urges the colonies to build saltworks along the shore, and already men boil seawater in great iron pans, distilling independence from the sea itself. But winter has arrived. Across New England, the first hard frosts are sealing the ponds in glass. Snow drifts over the campfires around Boston. And the wind? It cuts sharper than any bayonet. Yet soldiers write of the auroras lighting the sky above their tents, as if heaven itself unfurled a flag. While men fight, women sustain the cause in every town. Spinning bees are filling meeting houses, contests to see who can weave the most homespun for the army. Candles are poured, soap is rendered, bread stretched with pumpkin and cornmeal. One woman writes, "If our husbands defend liberty, we shall clothe it." And truly, the revolution is stitched together by their hands. So as this week draws to a close, our colonies stand divided by distance, but united by purpose. Montreal is ours. The Navy and Marines have been born. The siege of Boston endures. And even as the frost hardens the ground, the resolve of the people, it deepens. Now, make no mistake, this winter, it will test us. But when the ink freezes in the wells and the fires burn low, the spirit of liberty will still burn bright. It is no longer a whisper. It is the heartbeat of a continent. If you've enjoyed this glimpse through time, please give it a like. It helps us keep the stories alive. And until next week, my friends, I remain your faithful correspondent, Mercy Otis Warren.